candidate. Joining us now for a little discussion of all of this, Mark Larson, a conservative Southern California radio host. Leslie Marshall, a syndicated radio host and Fox News contributor, is also there with us. Leslie, what do you think about Kellyanne Conway's advice? Should the Clinton camp just stop?
No. Well, if they want to, yes. If they want to, no. Last time I checked, we had a First Amendment right to write in the Washington Post or anywhere else an op-ed and to give the opinion. I do agree that's not the reason that that Hillary Clinton lost. But honestly, I don't think Kellyanne should pay mind to the insults. I get plenty of them online every day.
Well, she says
ignore them and they'll go away and move forward and focus on what needs to be done for this country.
She says she's gotten death threats because of all this.
Now, that's disgusting. I've had death threats, too, from things I've said, and we know that there was a union worker that had death threats from the president-elect's tweet the other day, and that is part of the problem, I think, that Jennifer Palmieri is speaking to, John, which is the continued divisiveness and vitriolic nature of this country right now, and I think it's essential that President-elect Trump stand up and speak to a lot of the hate crimes that are happening and a lot of this division, because he has promised to unite the country. I think we need to see some of that, and I would really like to see Kellyanne speak to that as well. So,
Mark, what do you think about what Jennifer Palmieri and the Clinton camp are saying?
Yeah. I think Jennifer is using a Bic lighter or something to light the torch, and despite what Leslie is saying here, I think her side needs some new material. It's always the isms, the racism, it's the white supremacy now, it's anti-women, anti-this, that, and whatever. Words do mean things, and they do have results and consequences, and I'm very concerned with as this heats up. Sure, both sides should take a look and make sure that they're not fanning flames here too, but the Democrats, the left in particular, some of the mainstream media have not learned any lesson from the election. They've not figured out how, when you get into the even though it's free speech, rhetoric that leads to violence in the streets, for example, that's a big concern coming up with the inauguration, because activist groups on the left are looking for ways to stir things up too. It's a time to be cautious, but don't blame it all, as they always do, on whoever the conservative or non-Democrat side happens to be.
Leslie, she seems to be blaming, Jennifer Palmieri, seems to be blaming white supremacists for giving this election to Donald Trump. There aren't enough white supremacists in Michigan and Pennsylvania and Wisconsin to make him the president of the United States, are there?
I would agree with you, John. That is not the reason that Hillary Clinton lost, and I've said that before. There are a number of reasons. I mean, she did not visit Wisconsin. She didn't take her husband, former President Bill Clinton's advice and care about the disenfranchised white working class voter, and I think they are really what gave it to Donald Trump and put him over the top in the Electoral College. Bernie bus people that stayed home, African Americans that stayed home, a division in the Democratic Party, the list goes on. But I do think that a lot of the rhetoric, to Mark's point, I do think a lot of the rhetoric of fanning the flames, it is out there, and some of this rhetoric came from our president-elect, and I think that he has a responsibility and the power to stop it.
All right, well, talking about
a lot of that is old news.
Mark, it sounds like a dodge. If those are, in fact, the reasons that Hillary Clinton lost the election, why not own up to it?
Well, I don't think she's wired that way. Maybe she needs to go back to Chelsea's apartment, which is the finest medical facility in America, I guess, and just get rebooted, because this idea, it was hers. It happened in 2008. She thought she was entitled. The entitlement class is having heads explode. I guess that's incendiary rhetoric, sorry. The entitlement class is having a hard time figuring this out, that they lost because the issues didn't match a number of Americans who felt disenfranchised. And I think Bernie Sanders probably understands that better than a lot of them, because he was disenfranchised by the same Clinton machine.
Yeah, as you point out, Leslie, Bernie Sanders, well, I guess it was Kellyanne Conway who said that Bernie Sanders supporters were never fully embraced by the Clinton campaign. And then we could get into that basket of deplorables remark.
Yes.
If you say that half of the Donald Trump supporters, which turns out to be a quarter of those who voted in the election, are deplorable, that's not necessarily a way to, win friends and influence people.
I don't disagree, John, but really I just don't see the numbers showing that in the exit polls as the reason to why she lost. I cited earlier, I think, the reasons that she lost, and one of which was the division within the Democratic Party and different ideas as to those who were willing to move more center with Hillary Clinton and those who were sticking with Bernie and staying to the left and really just didn't want to stop the revolution. And many of them stayed home or voted for Gary Johnson or voted for Jill Stein. Those are the numbers. I mean, the numbers don't lie. Those are the numbers, and that's really why she lost.
Flawed. She had baggage.
I don't agree with
she
that.
was a horrible candidate.
She beat him in the popular election by what? Now 2 point
Yeah, you take
over
California
6
out of that, New York
votes.
out of that. Yeah. So what? The Constitution matters, Leslie. You know that. Come on.
I'm not saying the Constitution doesn't matter, but you can't say that this is a completely flawed candidate to get that many votes in the popular
she's a human
vote.
being. She's mostly flawed.
Vote.
Okay, mostly flawed then. It's a Christmas season. Even you can smile, Leslie. Come on.
We'll leave it at that.
I always smile, and aren't we? And I'll be the first to admit that I and all of us are flawed.
We'll leave it there.
That's right.
On this
Amen to that.
pre-holiday Friday. Mark Larson, Leslie Marshall. Good discussion. Thank you both.